I want you to put on your voting hat, okay? If you had a vote. Now, we've both shared our opinions on how this voting system goes down and how we think it needs to be changed and adjusted somehow. But if you were voting, who would be on your Hall of Fame ballot?
Okay. So I really like this list a lot. There's a lot of names.
There's a lot of really good names.
So I'm going to start with a newcomer, Adrian Beltran. He gets my vote. He's in. Again, third most homers by a third baseman in MLB history. One of the best, very, very good defensive third baseman as well. Just love him, his career, love watching him play. So for me, he's a vote on my list. Five gold gloves, 2 platinum gloves, might I add. So he's on my list. He gets my vote. Next up, I'm going to go with Todd Helton.
Okay.
Todd Helton is a Hall of Famer, in my opinion. He's not yet. I hope this is the year he gets in. Here's what frustrates me with Todd Helton. You look at his numbers, he's absolutely a Hall of Famer. I think he's getting screwed because he played his whole career in Colorado. And for whatever reason, voters hold that against baseball players because their numbers are a tad inflated because of the elevation. But it ain't his fault. It ain't his fault he played his whole career in Colorado. So why are we holding that against guys? 316 career batting average, 414 on base percentage. The man is a Hall of Famer, and I do think he gets in this year. I just think voters hold it against guys and make them wait a little bit longer because of that situation. But in my opinion, it's bullshit. So he gets my vote.
All right, next up.
Next up is Joe Mauer, a guy we talked about in the newcomer list. Again, one of 4 catchers to win an MVP in the last 50 years. That list includes, other than Joe Mauer, Ivan Pudge Rodriguez, Thurman Munson, and Buster Posey. When you think catchers over this generation that we've just seen, Joe Mauer comes to mind. It would be a catastrophe if the man doesn't get in. I do think he gets in. 3 batting titles as a catcher is insane. I remember watching him grow up, playing baseball, watching him do his thing, and he did it other than any other catcher I've ever seen. High on base percentage, high batting average. Catchers aren't supposed to hit as well as he does, right? Catchers have a lot of other shit to do out there. You got to catch, you got to call a game, you got to lead a pitching staff, you got to be the leader of the defense. To hit as well as he did, no question in my mind, Joe Mauer is a Hall of Famer.
I will say we're seeing it a lot more now. We're seeing a lot more catchers now kind of be a power hitter on these teams.
Yeah,
so
but
it kind of set the tone.
Yeah, and I wouldn't even say Joe Mauer is necessarily a power hitter. He's just a pure hitter. But back to your point, we are seeing it more now. But you still see the guys like Martin Maldonado stick around and have a hell of a career because of how good they are defensively and how good they are at leading a pitching staff.
Yeah.
And that will forever be the case. Is you can stick around for a catcher as a long time without being a great hitter because you can do other things well. Joe Mauer did everything very well, and he's a Hall of Famer.
All right, moving on. Who's next?
Next up is Billy Wagner. Billy Wagner is 6th all-time in saves. Why hasn't Billy Wagner gotten in the Hall of Fame? Why? I don't understand it. Closers struggle to get in, but the man's a 7-time All-Star, again, 6th all-time in saves. I just don't get it. A lefty, the Billy Wagner story is so cool. Grew up playing baseball. He threw right-handed. He broke his right arm, learned how to throw left-handed, and ended up a big league closer throwing 100 miles an hour left-handed. He taught himself to throw left-handed because he broke his right arm. It's such a cool story. Also from Virginia. Funny story about Billy Wagner. I feel like over the last few years, I've been very outspoken about Billy Wagner needing to be a Hall of Famer. And one time I tweeted about it.
Yeah.
And when all the Hall of Fame voting was coming out, and I think I tweeted Billy Wagner, I tagged him, @Billy Wagner should be a Hall of Famer. And all I've done on social media when it comes to Billy Wagner, I feel like is advocate for him to be a Hall of Famer. I click on his name after I tagged him, I'm blocked. I don't know what the hell I did.
It could be a sore subject, and it's kind of triggering for him, maybe?
No, he retweets other people that are yeah, Billy Wagner, Hall of Famer.
He just doesn't like you?
Why?
I don't know. What'd you do to Billy Wagner?
I've never met the man. Never met him.
Wait.
6 all-time in saves. He gets my vote.
That's tough. All right, moving on. Who's next?
Oh, this one's a soft spot for me.
Another one. I
Yes.
feel like these are all soft spots for you. You're very emotional about the guys that you like.
Very emotional about
Really,
the game of
like-
baseball.
Yeah, we know
Alex.
that.
Another one is Andrew Jones. Grew up a Braves fan. Andrew Jones was like one of my favorite players growing up. Andrew and Chipper Jones. Love Andrew Jones. He absolutely gets my vote, and I think he should be in already. It's frustrating that he's not.
Yeah, I feel like this next one's the same.
As of right now,
Yeah.
at 74.7%.
It's like 0.03%.
And the voting,
right?
it's done
Oof.
tonight. We'll find out if he
Oof.
gets in.
Okay.
Look, I think Gary Sheffield's a frustrating one because there's always been that steroid link to him, but there's no basis to that. Look into it. Look into Gary Sheffield's link into steroids. It's ridiculous. The guy was never caught. The guy never tested. The guy never tested positive. He was just linked in a story with Barry Bonds. And it has always felt like, yeah, there's this little smudge on Gary Sheffield's name because of that. Well, do your research. And that's, if you listen to Gary Sheffield talk about it, that's what he says. Do your research. Look into it. Don't just hear what everybody else is saying because the evidence is out there.
Yeah.
And I absolutely think he's a Hall of Famer. He gets my vote.
Moving on. Who you got next?
Moving on is Carlos Beltran. Carlos Beltran, the 4th most homers by a switch hitter. One of the best switch hitters in the history of baseball. 435 homers. Was fantastic. World Series winner as well. I think his first year on the ballot. His voting totals were a little bit less, but he is very much so trending up. I eventually think he'll get in. But I think he got a little bit of a knock originally because of the link to not just a link, the word out there is that Carlos Beltran was the leader in the clubhouse with that Astros situation back in 2017. And then ended up getting a head coaching, a managerial job with the Mets. And then when all that came out, the Mets were like,
yeah,
nah,
bye.
we're not gonna do that.
We don't want to be connected to that.
So I do hope, I hope he eventually gets in. I would love to see him as a manager. I do understand the Mets not just like pumping the brakes a little bit. I hope eventually he gets a managerial job. I hope eventually he becomes a Hall of Famer. 4th most homers for a switch hitter and one of the best of all time.
Next is also interesting and a coworker.
Alex Rodriguez. We know the accolades. As a baseball player, there's no question, right?
Yeah.
As a baseball player, Alex Rodriguez is a Hall of Famer. 5th most homers of all time, 3-time MVP, 14-time All-Star. When you talk shortstops and you were to ask who's the most talented, who's the best shortstop of all time, A-Rod's in that question. Then you move over to third base and that question as well. He's one of the most talented, best careers in baseball history. 329 stolen bases as well. But steroids.
Yeah.
And that becomes the question. What do you do with these steroid guys? What do you do with them? I don't know. A-Rod has done a fantastic job of turning around his public image. Fantastic. He was not liked as a baseball player. When he was still playing, people hated him. People love watching A-Rod now. And I think that A-Rod does a fantastic job for us here on Fox. He does a great job being personable to people. You watch him around the stadium. He's great, and he really has revamped his image. And obviously, he's not in the Hall of Fame because of what he did on the baseball field. It's because of his image and the steroid link. I would put him in.
Yeah, I mean, we've gone to lengths talking about this with Barry Bonds. And the guys who really changed the game of baseball, brought it back to life in a lot of senses.
Yeah.
They're the leaders in these categories of these all-time stats that we still talk about and we still use. If we're still using their names and talking about them as all-time leaders, why aren't they in the shrine of where we talk about the best of the best in baseball? It just doesn't make sense.
So
it does not make sense to me.
I agree. And before I go in completely on that, let me reveal the last name on my ballot because this goes into the same point. Manny Ramirez. I would vote for him as well. Manny Ramirez, one of the best right-handed hitters of all time. Manny being Manny, right? 555 homers, 312 career batting average, 411 on-base percentage, and one of the best, most fun personalities to watch playing baseball of all time. But steroid link there as well. I would vote for him. Thanks for watching. If you love flipping bats, swinging 3-0, or just talking ball, join us. Call us at 213-537-9339 with your questions. We have a weekly guest, and we have a lot of fun, so hit that subscribe button.